Last night, Leganes showed the world how to defend against FC Barcelona. Now, a lot of people thought that we were off. That was not the case. There was actually a lot of tactics that went on in this game, which I'm going to show you guys. But as always, do subscribe to the channel. It's going to help us a lot to get this family to grow. But without wasting any time, let's get right into the video. Leganes were very clever in the way they would press Barcelona in a very narrow 4-5-1 situation where everybody would just defend centrally, and the main goal for them was to apply pressure onto Eric Garcia. And Pedri many a times had to draw back in order to come and help out. I have to commend them for the way that they were very, how can I say now, disciplined, and also put pressure on Eric Garcia. This is really good defensive system, and you can see they're a well-drilled team. Even the situations where Pedri would drop back, he was also very fully covered and very well covered by this Leganes team because they had so many players centrally. Leganes were more than happy to let the centre backs have the ball, especially with in coordination with Kunde as well, because all they were really focused on was keeping close tabs on Eric Garcia, Pedri, and also Fermin. Even the situations where Robert Lewandowski would drop off, somebody would be on top of him. So not only did the wrong people have the ball, at the same time all of these passing options are all closed down. And they actually had two extra men to jump out occasionally to see if they could press the fullbacks as well. In this situation right here, we can clearly see that Pedri and Fermin was being man-marked as Leganes wasn't bothered with the centre-backs having the ball. And I do think we did miss Kubarsi for those line-breaking passes here. Look at Rafinha when he's dropping, Lewandowski, Fermin, Pedri, all of them, they kept close tabs on them, man-marking them or cutting out the passing lane towards them. And look at how this player would jump out onto Kunde while the other options are still being marked. So this was how you shut down Barcelona masterclass from Leganes. It was frustrating to see that Barcelona couldn't really break the lines of Leganes because they were so flat and defended in lines and left a lot of space in between the lines. And for the first time, these guys dropping off onto the ball didn't mean anything because they could be followed out wide and not be able to outnumber Leganes because of the 4-5-1, but at the same time have so many numbers centrally as well, clocking down the center. This is why I said that we miss Kubarsi, because look at the crazy amount of space between the back line and the midfield line. Those line-breaking passes would have been crazy for Barcelona. But what really impressed me is the way that they were not following the guys they were dropping onto the ball. They would let them receive the ball first and then they would pressure them, ultimately forcing them to pass more backwards often. Success for Leganes in defending Barcelona is a lot down to their wider players because these guys had to stay in narrow in order to clock down the center for Barcelona. But at the same time, for example, the left winger, he was tasked to actually go out to Kunde because Kunde was in a very central position trying to draw him out so that Lamine Yamal can have a one-on-one situation. But for most of the game, this player made it back in time to actually have a 2-on-1 situation where it made it easier for the midfielders to track the runs of Fermin and also for Lewandowski. When the ball would circulate, he would just go and press out again and close down the passing lane right here, meaning they forced Barcelona back many occasions. In the situation right here, we can see that the player is tracking back, ultimately helping out the fullback, while at the same time Fermin is being tracked by one of the midfielders, keeping Leganes intact, right? And look at how Jan is even the one closing down Lamine Yamal with the discipline that he has, covering for the fullback. So this is just great defending from Leganes. And look at how the way he's pressing Kunde. Kunde cannot really now go back to Lamine Yamal and pressure him, right? Because it's going to be too difficult. So he has to go pass the ball back. However, guys, I just wanted to take this time to express my gratitude to you guys for helping me reach 10,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys so much. Like, words cannot even describe the gratitude that I feel towards you guys, because this started out just as a dream, something I wanted to try out. But little did I know this channel is gonna become so big, and a lot of you guys actually believed in me. So I wanted to thank you guys for believing in me. I appreciate you guys and I love you guys so much. Let's continue this build forward. Flick brought on Frenkie de Jong for Ronald Araujo, meaning Eric Garcia could go into the centre back space. And this was genius because it did two things for FC Barcelona. Number one, it made Rabah really useless because he couldn't keep tabs on Frenkie. Because Frenkie is really press resistant, he could get around Rabah easily. And this would draw other players around, meaning Frenkie could now dribble, and therefore Fermin and Pedri could drop into these spaces actually, and it would mean something, meaning they could drag players away, where Lamine and even Kunde at times coming in here could receive the ball. This substitution confirms everything that I said. because Flick would rather have Eric Garcia on the pitch, who's not as fast, strong, as tall as Ronald Araujo, because he's not up to Barcelona standard. And here we can see Rabah basically defending Frenkie, but he's not really pressing because Frenkie could go around him very easily and draw one of the other players out of position. This allowed Fermin and the likes of Koundé to basically alter their positioning, and can you see it really just disorganized Leganes a little bit. Secondly, what Frenkie's substitution also did for Barcelona is that we know how he likes to move in between the centre backs. This allowed Inigo to be a little bit wider, ultimately having Gerard Martin going forward with Rafinha inverting into the half space. This also allowed Pedri to go and make up numbers in the half space, and therefore Inigo, being so wide, actually forced one of the wingers to come out wide. And therefore you would see a 2-1-1 situation, and Pedri also receiving the ball from Inigo in these areas. So this allowed Barcelona to be a little bit wider, and the same on the right hand side. Koundé could go a little bit forward now with Lamine, but that is also why I was saying that Koundé was also in the half spaces right here. So this actually allowed Barcelona to have some success on the wider areas as well. So Frenkie's substitution was just genius from Hansi Flick. Over here we can clearly see Frenkie de Jong dropping in between the centre backs to get on the ball to dictate the play a little bit, and it's crazy how Frenkie de Jong's movement just added another level to the movement of the whole team, because look how disorganized Leganes was in the situation. Look at where's Pedri, look at where's Gerard Martin. So Barcelona went up another gear in terms of the movement, right? Here we see Inigo being extremely wide, allowing Rafinha to go forward. And look at the positioning of Gerard Martin in the half space, the same like Jules Koundé was doing on the other side. You can see Inigo was allowed to go extremely high, and this must have been an instruction from Mr. Hansi Dieter Flick. But in the end, Barcelona got the 3 points, and I don't think people will care when we win the league about the struggling we did in this game in particular, right? This is the type of games that shows you where a team is mentally. We didn't play great, we had a hard time breaking down this Leganes side, but we got away with the points. This is the difference makers at the end of the day, and Barcelona really did a good job. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. It was lovely talking to you and showing you the tactics of Leganes, but subscribe as always. I will see you in the next one.